What should I talk about today? I got it. Today's video is going to be about the 6 stages in the life of a street photographer. Stage 1 in the life of a street photographer. I haven't given these stages any fancy titles, so bear with me, just numbers. Stage 1 is the first stage, obviously, when you just discover that street photography exists. Like maybe you're poking around your favorite photography website and there's an article on some new street photographer who's making it big, or even better, like a retrospective of a master, and you're like, what? You're kidding me! I can take more than just photos of old windmills and old trucks in fields? This is strange and new. And you feel something, you resonate with these photos, and you want to try it. And very soon you figure out that it's kind of intimidating and scary. So what do you do in phase 1? You go to a really safe area like an art fair, where it's like, oh, everyone's gonna be wrapped up looking at arts and booths. I'm gonna make some great ass street photography. And you walk around and you very scaredly take pictures of people's backs. And none of the photos end up being good, but hey, it's the first time out, you gotta build up a little experience. Or it's also possible during stage 1 you take a totally different route where your idea of what street photography is still a little off kilter, so you're like, I'm gonna go someplace a little more dangerous, like downtown. Ooh. And you go downtown and what do? You just look for people who are different than you, people you think are freaks, so you can point at them and laugh with your camera. It's like, look at that girl with her blue hair. Why, this gentleman doesn't even have a home. Such an artist I am. And that's about the extent of street photography phase 1. It's basically about taking a lot of bad photos, starting to build up an understanding of what kind of feeling and mental place you have to be in to do this kind of photography. So if you've grown a taste for street photography, and you keep progressing in the field, it is time for stage number 2. This is the stage where you've gone out a few times, you understand the rhythm a bit better, you're getting more confident in the street, it's less frightening to look down people and shoot them in the face with a camera. Important distinction. And more importantly, you kind of start really realizing that everything that happens out in the street is important, and it needs to be street photographed. It doesn't care how boring it is, you gotta shoot this boring photo and show people it's not boring. You start building up this fervor of just wanting to shoot everything. You get pockets full of film and you're just ready to go at all times. And if you have a significant other who likes to walk and go places with you, you kind of start looking at them like, what if they ruin my photograph? So you're walking down the street and you see a decisive moment brewing to your left. And what do? You twist. You kick your leg up like Rasan in that little video, and then you pop your shutter. Except right when you did that, their big dumb head walked through because they don't have the street photographer's eye yet and didn't see that decisive moment growing. They ruined your shot. And then the thing about this stage is like, missing these decisive moments just starts to eat at you, just really bad. Every time you blow one because your significant other's head walks through the scene, or you get an exposure wrong, or you just didn't have enough sense to see it coming, it's soul crushing and you just kind of hate yourself a little bit more. But you vow, you stand there and you take a vow to never let this happen again. Stage 3 is the most intense of the 6 stages of photography. Although it bears a lot of semblance to stage 2, you now have bought a Leica M. Sure, buying a Leica kinda makes you sad because all those old photos are now technically irrelevant and just trash, but whatever. The training and emotional preparedness you have from the previous experiences still exists, but you have vowed to never let a decisive moment miss your lens again. You start to train. You become a mechanical animal who is one with your rangefinder. You can look that way, set the exact aperture you need for the light conditions over there, and BAM! Just nailed it so fast. It's not even about art at this point. It's about sports training. It's about keeping your body in peak physical condition to take a photo in under 1/1000th of a second. Like, do you know? Let me quiz you right here, anyone who thinks they're in stage 3. Do you know how many of your steps it takes to pace off 15 feet, the exact distance that your lens is set at, for an easy, quick, and BAM shot. Oh, if you don't know, drop and give me 20 until you do, because you are not ready for stage 3 street photography. Like I said, this is an intense level. It's all about you, the camera, and the NPCs in the world. That's right, they're NPCs. No longer are the people out there have their own emotion or agenda or right to privacy. It's your legal right to shoot them, but damn right it's your emotional right too to make art out of them. Your art and what you're saying with your Leica is more important than anything they could ever amount to. And that significant other of yours? Yeah, you still go out with them every now and then, except, oh honey, we need to walk 5 blocks to this next place we're going. Can you give me a block head start so you're not in my frame should a decisive moment come and I need to shoot it real quick? Thanks, dear. So this is the intensity that makes you start to say stuff that sounds like a sociopath. Like if someone asks you, how can you just take pictures of people on the street? And you go, I don't interact or think about my subjects before I shoot them. And once I do, I've already moved on mentally to the next exposure. So of course, this is also obviously the stage where you start applying the Magnum. So this is the stage where you've been rejected from Magnum more than once. And it's kind of taking the wind out of your sails. Like you are for sure thought at this point you were going to be up there with the greats like Cartier-Bresson. And like you did the flashing strangers real aggressively in the street thing like Bruce Gilden. It should have been you up there, but you're starting to roll back a bit and understanding that possibly is never going to happen. So you loosen up your shooting a bit. You still keep a camera with you everywhere, but the sports training you let atrophy a little bit. If a decisive moment comes by and you do miss it because you're a little out of shape, it doesn't eat at you that much because you know if those first 40 good photos you had didn't get you into Magnum, one more probably isn't going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back, right? Your significant other, here dear, you now allow them to hold your hand while you walk, because it's okay to miss a decisive moment every now and then. So this is the phase where you accept, you very internally accept that you are not getting into Magnum anytime soon. So the slide of slower and slower picture taking that happened in phase 4 kind of really gets down and dirty. You start doing weird stuff like carrying medium format with you and start to have this inner dialogue about like, what is street photography? Does it have to be the decisive moment? What if it's literally a picture of an empty street? That's perfect for my medium format gear that I'm carrying now. And the camera you're carrying with you now? You don't keep it at the ready just to crack on that decisive moment. It's more like, there's a moment. Still there? Yep. Beautiful. So this slowing down kind of makes you think and wonder a little more like, maybe the moments that I should worry about taking pictures of are the ones that aren't something I have to crack out of the air based off my sports skills, but just stuff that's so obviously important draws itself out over time that I have time to compose and futz with the camera before snapping the photo. It's a weird idea to you, and then you start to think, oh no, is this possibly photojournalism? Am I working for the newspaper now? But you don't care, because you're not getting into Magnum. So being a stage 5er myself, I can attest that everything I set up to this point is potentially true. Stage 6, however, I have not achieved what I've observed, so I can only relay my observations. So stage 6 is the final and greatest stage in being a street photographer. It happens years, possibly decades after you've taken your last photograph. And hell, you might even be dead for stage 6. Just putting that out there. This is the stage where all those photos you took decades ago, even the most mediocre of them, have now, through time, accrued enough natural nostalgia that the people viewing them at the time will be like, wow, that's interesting how things used to be. And if you're still alive at this point, you can then do the busy work of bringing back out those photographs and putting them on display for people, and just finally cashing in on like all the photography dividends that have been accumulating over the year of these photos that have been aging like a fine wine. And if you're even extra fortunate, maybe some young whippersnapper finds your photographs and they're like, I want to bring these to life instead of working on my own photographs. So they go and they do all the busy work for you of scanning your films or whatever technology we use in 50 years to get pictures off of your old negatives. I lost a light. Oh. Deal. So continuing, this person goes and transfers all your photos digitally, starts making prints for you, starts doing exhibitions for you. It's great. You start getting all this attention, and people finally are seeing and understanding the work that you put in so many decades ago, and all you have to do is just kick your legs back and let them do all the work while you take all the glory. If you're not dead.